I have to go borrow a ladder. So I'm on the hunt right now, going to a couple neighbors. So I did manage to talk to one of the neighbors, and I actually found one. So this might be perfect. So I was able to find a ladder, and I was only able to get one of these step ladders. So I'm not really happy about that, because I have to get up here on the roof, and I have to take a narrow step, and then get over there where I have all the roof space, and then lay the lights out. So not my first option, but it'll do. What's up, guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to another weekend in the lawn, or shall I say this weekend, a weekend at Grandma's house. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be showing you guys the basics, step by step, on how to put up Christmas lights, or at least how I do it. In today's video, we're going to focus primarily on the roof line, applying Christmas lights to shingles and gutters. For those of you who've been around for a while, you guys remember I actually did a series on this a couple of years ago at my house. I showed you guys everything step by step on how to do it. So what I figured I would do this year is I would take all the knowledge I've learned and I would apply it to a site that's not only different, but it's also bigger and brighter. Okay guys, here it is. Christmas lights 2018 at Grandma's house. Let's go over our plan and then we'll bring it to life. I guess the first thing we can do is take a look at our setup. So we have driveway here, walkway here, and the way the house is designed is we have a giant peak right here which holds the garage and the entrance to the sunroom, which I don't have illustrated here. But because of that, that makes this area a very prominent part of the house, because this is where family and whatnot pulls up on Christmas Eve to actually enter the house. Because of that, that makes this area a very prominent part. We have to light it up, no excuses. And then in addition to that, we have gutter space that runs here. This is the garage, and then another peak that runs up and then drops off right here. We have gutter space here, peak right here, which holds my grandmother's front porch, gutter space, and then a smaller peak on the other side. So first, let's talk about what we're going to be doing on the roof line, which is going to be our primary focus today, and then I'll go over some stuff that I plan on doing later in this series. So the roof line here, what I have is an extension cord that runs right here, and then my cord is actually going to run right here where it's going to hook into the gutter and it's going to supply power to the entire roof line. Now, a lot of you guys might say, well, why are you putting your cord near the front of the house? Aren't people going to see it? Well, I understand what you're getting at, but I want you to realize I have a giant bush right here that actually blocks all the cords, so I have a lot of leeway here as far as the cord goes, so nothing to worry about here. And then what I have is strand of lights that runs right here, and these are all going to clip to the shingles. Roof lights that run this way along the gutter, roof lights that run this way along the shingles, and then down, and then they drop off right here. They fill in this gutter space here, fill in this gutter space here, they go on this peak that we're going to illuminate, and then they come gutter space, and then this smaller peak right here. The materials you're going to need for this are going to be, number one, your chosen Christmas lights. As you'll see here, I went with C9 cool white LEDs. I don't know why I chose that years ago, but I did. And secondly, you're going to need what are called shingle and gutter clips, meaning that they'll clip right under the shingle and that they'll clip right over the gutter. They look something like this right here. Get those and you should be good. Now, I know a lot of you guys are really excited to get into the fun part, which is actually putting up the Christmas lights. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm pretty excited too, but we have to go through a little procedure before we can get to the fun part. That way we can make the most out of the fun part and we don't have to waste all of our time up there doing other things. So the first thing I recommend you do is that you get all of your Christmas lights out, lay them all out on the ground somewhere, make sure everything's working, test them, pre-clip them. We want to do all of this prep from the ground. That way when we get up on the roof, we can focus solely on applying them and get through that process much quicker and much easier. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm laying out all of these lights to make sure that they all work ahead of time, because the last thing I want to do is put them all up and then last minute find out there's something wrong and have to go up on the roof in this cold weather and have to try and troubleshoot the problem. So it's better to do it ahead of time and get it done so that we don't deal with these problems later on, because like I said, the last thing we want to do is bring everything up on the roof and then have to go troubleshoot it later on. Now I got all the lights laid out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to pre-clip them before I bring them up on the roof. Because remember, the idea here is to save time in the long term. Now, this process is a little time consuming, but like I said, the idea is to save as much time as possible in the long term. So I'm going to get all the stuff I can done on the ground, That way when I take them up on the roof, I can focus solely on the application, thus I will get it done faster. Hold on guys, we're getting there, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to dry lay all of our lights out on the roof. As I mentioned before, the key here is to save as much time as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring all the strands up on the roof, we're going to dry lay everything out, so then that way when we're up there applying, we don't have to worry about untangling any strands. Now keep in mind, with LEDs you might get some tangles bringing them up there, but it's better to work out those tangles. Again, I've been saying this all throughout the video, you can focus solely on the application and get by faster and smoother. Now that we got everything up on the roof, it's time to get our extension cord attached. A couple things here. Number one, obviously, you start at the end somewhere. You don't want to start in the middle. And when you do that, you want to make sure that you secure the extension cord to the gutter, because what can end up happening if you let this hang or dangle is, say you get one really windy day or something, or maybe your clips aren't strong enough and the weight from this cord is pulling down on it, what could happen is it can pull your lights down, and then they'll all end up falling down like dominoes, and then that's just more work you have to do reapplying, and that's just not something you want to do, right? So make sure your cord's secured to the gutter like this and you should be fine. And also another thing to keep in mind is that make sure you keep this cord out of the gutter. The last thing you want to do is let this get submerged and cause a short. So make sure that you keep this up and above and out of the gutter, and also tie it so then that way things will stay smooth and secure. And as you remember, like I said earlier, it's best to put up your lights plugged in, so then that way you can troubleshoot a problem right away. And I actually have an example here for you. So this whole half of the strand went out over here, and what I had to do was I had to, you know, pull out each bulb individually until I found something that was wrong, and I did. Let me show you, in fact. So on every bulb, they're going to have these two metal things that come out on both sides, and there's supposed to be one over here. And what I realized after going through them individually is that this one is missing the other side. I'm guessing maybe from aging or something, but that's what contributed to this half of the strand not working. So I just wanted to show that. So let the whole moral of this lesson be that when you put your lights up, put them up plugged in, so then that way you can troubleshoot any problems ahead of time. Alright guys, so from there it's just a matter of applying the Christmas lights to the roof line. As far as application goes with our clips, they will slide right under the shingles. When it comes to gutters, they will go right over the gutters. Slide them under with shingles, slide them over with gutters is what I would say. One quick tip as far as applying to the shingle, you want to make sure that you point your lights up towards the sky, especially if you're looking for a true white, because if you have tan fascia, that can actually make your lights look a little tan or a little bit brown from far away. So it's better that you actually point them up in the air. That's personal preference, you could do whatever you want, but I recommend you point them up. It'll make things look much more distinguished and definitely more professional. Both of you, don't let go of this ladder.
Okay. Yes.
I'm not joking. Don't let go, because if you do, I can die. Definitely need to get another light over here.
Yeah. Wow. Besides
So here's my plan. I want to get another one of those spotlights, put it right there, Have another one, put it here to help illuminate this. I'm going to do that to kind of mimic what I got going on up front and also to keep everything lit up. So I'll do the same thing on the other side to add some symmetry.